Peace and blessings. Welcome back. Here is Kato. I am working on Kato while our lovely honey, some of her layers dry. Kato looks pretty good. So we are going to continue working on Kato. He looks quite nice. He does. We're going to put another layer of this nutmeg cafe con leche hot chocolate color on Kato, avoiding the face. We're just going to go around the perimeter of the face and the scalp and the ears. We want to again slowly build up the color and to try to use at least about three colors so that we can get a variation in the skin tone coming to the face. Um, that's something that is very normal in melanated um, children, melanated babies, where you see a little bit of a variation. Um, not so, it's not a stark contrast in the colors, they just all blend in nicely together. And that's what we're striving to achieve. We were able to do that somewhat with Lillian, and we did a pretty good job with that on Lillian. For Sonnet, we did it was our first try, and we did a pretty good job too, an okay job. But with Lillian, we did better with um, the skin variation, the colors, I should say, in the face. We were able to put different skin tones to give that subtle variation in color. Now, one of the things that we do when we go around the face like this, if you see, I'm not doing like steady, like a line, like a stroke in a line. I'm just kind of feathering, and that's what will give that uh, beautiful normal look. So we feathered, and you know how I like to say I go like in a little bit of a circle? Well, and that's again what I'm doing here. Going a little bit like in a circle and pouncing, just pouncing around. We don't want any sharp lines. We don't want any pooling anywhere. We just want a beautiful, beautiful transition in colors. Now, if you think about it, you can look at a color gradient to kind of see, going from different variations of brown. You may go from a tan to a deeper tan to a chocolate or deep chocolate. You go in a variation. The thing is, you don't even realize that there's a variation. You just see a beautiful transition that you can't even really put your finger on where one color begins and the next one ends. Now, as we can see a little bit with Lillian, a little bit with Kato, I tried to put some additional light so that you might be able to see a little bit of the color change, the variation. Um, it may not be easy to see on camera, um, you know, but I can see it, and coming out quite nice. So I'm making sure to get everything around the ears, that there isn't any pooling. Okay. So we have this very, very nice. Now we would like to go around the lips with this color to kind of give a little bit of a blend, because remember the inside part we did do the golden yellow highlight, so we're just going to take just a little bit of this nutmeg and go slightly above the lip, almost creating something almost like a false mustache, but it is outlining the lip. However, we're not overlining the lips. We're just kind of making a nice shadow. Then we're going to go inside the lips to the separation. We're going to go to the bottom lip, same color. Okay. This is something that we do. You know, it's the subtle things that make such a difference. You see that? The lips now have kind of popped. Now we're going to just take a little bit and go across the eye line where the eyes close. We're just going to go across there just a little bit to continue with the definition. And then we will pounce it out, because pooling is not our friend. Okay, pooling is not our friend. So we just pounce that out. We don't want any harsh lines. We just want things to be very, very subtle. We're going to go around this little line here, and just kind of put a little bit more coloring there. Not to make it where the baby looks like, you know, he has major bags, but we do want to give that illusion of some depth to the face. And you see there, looks very nice. And we're just not going in too dark, because remember, we only have that light nutmeg color and a little bit of that gold, that golden color. So we don't want to go too dark with anything over it, because it won't look natural. It won't really blend. Remember, everything that we do is to blend. I often use the analogy of putting makeup on, eyeshadow, and different things. Everything has to blend in a seamless kind of way. And, you know, it looks very nice that way when things blend. So I'm just kind of pouncing this out just a little bit. Don't want anything harsh, any harsh type of lines. Then we're going to go ahead and go around the nose. Okay. Go around the nose. Go in the nose a little bit. And what we're going to do is also go on the outside of the nose, because we would see a little bit of shadow, a little bit of depth, the color here on the nose. So we're going to do that, and then we are going to definitely pounce it out so that it blends. That's what the pouncing does. It blends and creates a transition. You see inside the nose has some coloring. Okay, the lips, the nose, look at the depth of the nose, the depth of the eyes. See some of the coloring that we put to kind of simulate thin skin. We're going to put a little bit more, a little bit later, I think. You know, there isn't like well, I don't have a 1, 2, 3 or A, B, C, and D kind of step that I do to create um, these reborns. Um, I go with the specific kit, what the kit I believe is telling me to do, and I strive to listen and continue the reborn process. Now we see how lovely the ears still have that deep color on the tops of the ears and on the outside, a little bit of the ears. We want to go ahead and continue with that brown tone, that brown color. So we're going to take our next deeper color, which is our burnt umber mix, and we're going to just just a little bit, because this burnt umber color mixed with a pinch of black, believe it or not, add a bit of yellow, which gives this color here. I don't know, maybe can't. It's a very rich brown, very rich dark brown. So what we're going to do is we're going to take just a tiny bit, just a very tiny bit. And we're going to see, one of my lights went off. What happened? Let's try to figure it out. Okay, I found out what was wrong. Trying to add one light, and then I unplugged one of the other lights. We're trying to work with, now we're going with this umber, this burnt umber color. Let me stir it again, because these paints, they settle and then they will be very, very gloppy, and you don't want that. Oh, okay, I stirred it a little bit. Just gonna take a tip of this color, and then I'm gonna go, you see, just on the ears, just a little bit. Let me see. And this part where we're going on the ear, we also need to go on the back of the ear so that this color goes all the way. And we're going around, creating some shadow and depth. And on the inside, same thing. And creating the illusion of an ear canal. You see? Okay. And we have to bounce, bounce, bounce. Everything has to be a nice, nice blend. Now see on the ear, if you can see, it's the color is not the entire ear. It's intentionally a portion of the ear because that is often what is seen in melanated babies when they are very young. The coloring on their ears has a deep color at the top, and that generally is the complexion that the child will be when they are a little bit older, when they're, as we like to say, their color has come in. So what we try to do is get the other ear pretty even with how much we do as far as where we put the color on the top of the ear. And you can kind of look above the kit and you can kind of see. And again, you don't want it to be a harsh line. You want it to be that blending, that gentle blending. So when we go around everywhere where we put some of the color, we blend. We blend. Now this color that we put on the ears, we're going to, put another layer again later. And just evening this out just a little bit. But we will put some more color later. Everything is a slow build up. Slow build up. At least that's the way I've been doing, and so far I enjoy those results that I've been able to achieve. You see the change, the gradual change. You see the highlight on the cheeks, the nose, kind of like a little bit of a T-zone in the cheeks and the chin. You have that highlight, and then when you go under the chin, you see that dark color again. And you see also around, you see some darkening, the change in the color. Okay, you see some change in the color. And that's what we want. That's what we want to see. We want to see that gradual change. Now we're going to move on to the arms. I like to work with the arms and then the legs. So, what we will do with this arm, I think I'm going to go back to my lighter color, my nutmeg color, and I think I want to go inside the palm for a little more color on the palms. Not to make it too dark, but to give it just a little bit more color. So that's how I would like to do it. Let me mix this up some more. Mix it up some more. Okay, and then I'm going to take my my smaller brush so that I can get into the palms the way I would like. I would like the palm to be a little bit darker because it's not that much color on the palm, you see. So I would like to get it just a little bit darker. Okay, so we're gonna go. That's what I did on the other kit. Remember I said that I went over the hands again, just to the hands and the feet, the palms and the soles. I said I went over it again with the color because sometimes you may not get all of the color that you would like, and you have to add more color as you go. It's better to add color than to try to take away a color that you don't want, because if you go with, if you go what you might consider too dark, in whatever color it is, it's very difficult, if not impossible, to get that color to lighten. And you may not get it to lighten, you may get it to become a different color, but you may not even be able to get it to lighten. So we're just going across the hands, the palms, the fingers, in between the fingers, all of it, all of it. We don't want any pooling anywhere. So we will now go ahead and we can pounce, 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 so that we don't have any pooling. And I will go in between the fingers to be certain that there isn't any pooling, and I will go ahead and I will pounce in between. There we go. And it's just a little bit more color now to that hand, to that palm. Just a little bit more, because I work in, very sheer layers. I don't have the, I don't feel confident to use, very thick layers. I like the way the sheer layers, the results that I achieve little by little. You know, who knows, maybe one day I might use, make my paints somewhere there a little bit darker rather than as sheer as they are. But it's just that, air dry paint, when I was looking online, they always said it needs to be sheer and kind of transparent, and then you build it up. So that's how, I've been doing it. And, that's just how I've been doing it. And obviously, I haven't been doing it that long, but I've been doing it. So now what we will do is we will go on ahead again with painting the palm and the fingers, the palm and the fingers. Here's my mom. Okay, the palm and the fingers. So I can take this brush. I can go a little bit and go. Remember, I'm doing the nails as well. The whole palm, the fingers, the front of the hand, the back of the hand. Because when we begin building up our deeper skin tone, we want it to be a nice blend with, all parts of the body. So, in my mind, I know what color I would like to achieve, and I may be able to achieve that color with this kit. Um, if not, I will be able to achieve another beautiful color. I just want to build up slowly and have everything look nice and natural. Nice and natural. Oops. So, no harsh lines, just everything looking nice and subtle. See a little bit. I probably may do, I don't know if I'm going to need to do another coat to that lighter color there. I'm not sure. I will do a little bit with the feet. Another round with the feet, the toes, the soles of the feet. You can see the difference in the color. Let's see if I can get yeah. You can see a little bit of the difference there in the color. So you can see that we are adding some color. It's not a lot. It's not a whole lot of deep color, but it is some color, some added color. And that's all we want. We want some added color. So as we begin to continue to build um, the toes and the soles of the feet, that color will complement the deeper tone as well. It's all about that nice blend, nice blend. Yeah. Okay. Pounce out. And top. And we will go in with the brush in between the toes to make sure there is no poo. Now this creasing we did with the Prismacolor pencils, and they came out rather nice. So yeah, so I tried two new things: the Prismacolor pencils and the powder. So I like them both. The Prism Color pencil, I like that. The only thing is certain areas you can't get it thin enough no matter how sharp your point is. At least that's what I found. So I'm going to do the same with this foot and toes. I think Kato was telling me to put a little bit more around the shading of the nose in this area. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to put a little bit more of this shading and in the nose and on the outside of the nose. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. And we're going to use this brush and see if we can pounce. Now this one's going to be too big. Let's not do that. Let's go back to the other one. Because if you pounce with a brush that's too large, then it's going to spread the color further out than you maybe would like. So for me, I like working with the smaller brushes. I feel I have a little bit more control that way. Now I'm going to go around his lips again. Just kind of building up a little bit of that color, that shadow kind of color. And then we will actually outline the let's see, can you see that? Yeah. I love the way the lips are popping now. I love that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go in the corners of the mouth to kind of deepen those corners. You can use the same color because remember, the more layers you apply of a particular color, in a sense, the darker that color will become. It will be less um, translucent. At least I think so. So I put a little bit in the corner to give the illusion of some depth there. You see? Gives the illusion of some depth. The mouth and the sides of the mouth. Yeah. Little by little. Little by little. Little by little. We're going to use a little bit of this eyelid purple on the eyelids. Very sheer coat. Very, very sheer. I mixed it up again. And we're going to kind of go around and outline where the eyeball, the impression of where the eyeball is. And we allow that eyelid purple to meet where the eyes close. And then you're going to pounce. Brush here. Well, it's not. And just pounce this eyelid purple because we just want it to be a hint of the purple because that gives the illusion of some, some thin skin, like you see some coloring underneath the skin. So, I don't know if you can see that a little bit. be able to see it. Okay. So that's all the purple that I want to use. Like, uh, the purple is a beautiful color and it brings out and deepens many colors. You just have to be careful because if you use it too heavily, then it looks like the baby has on, makeup, some kind of eyeshadow or something. So, um, unless you are going for that look, um, I wouldn't suggest too much of the eyelid purple. Okay, I am going to go a little bit deeper with the color. This is burnt sienna. It's a brown with a slightly red undertone. I'm just going to put a little bit on this, on the back of the kit. See what it's looking like. I'm a little bit afraid of the darker color. Okay, so I think I need to put a little bit more medium in here because I'm seeing some streaking. Um, this is start at the back of the head where there would be hair. I think I need to add some medium because it looks streaky. Um, um, hmm, maybe I need to add, I don't know, satin glaze. Um, gonna put a little satin glaze in here. If that doesn't fix it, maybe what I'll have to do is put a little bit more of the Liquitex matte gel. Okay. I don't know. Let's hope this works. Let's hope this works. The only thing with the satin glaze, it's white, so it kind of changes the color slightly. Um, let's try a little bit higher on the kit, on the head, to see if it's still streaking. No, I don't think it's. Hmm. No, I don't think it's streaking. I don't know, maybe I need to make it a little thinner. Maybe I'll put some wetting agent, the distilled water. Just not just, okay, let's try different part of the back. All of this is gonna be, this is gonna be covered by hair, so it's okay. Okay, I think this might be okay. Just don't want, streaking. Okay, so I'm pouncing with this sponge, and it does nicely. See a little black particle here. Let's get that out. Here too. Okay, we're going to go a little bit further with this burnt sienna, because remember we need to have a gradient of maybe 3 colors so that we can have that gradient with our skin tone. Okay, I don't know if you can see the difference in the coloring, but it's there. Slight difference, which is what we were looking for, and it does look pretty good. Okay, now I'm a little afraid, to be honest, but we're gonna go ahead on the other side. I'm getting close to the forehead. That's why I said I'm nervous, because I don't wanna, I don't wanna mess mess her up. Although actually, there really isn't anything that you can do that would actually mess up your kid. Um, Anything that happens, there's always a way to uh, figure out something to do with it that will make it work. And if all else fails, you can strip the kit. But I would much rather, you know, um, make a wonderful creation rather than having to strip the kit. I would like to be able to, if something is not quite exactly the way I want it, that I can figure out something creative to do to make it what I do want. Now here, remember we're kind of encircling the face, and remember we don't want any sharp lines, we want blurred type. So again, we're going in a little bit of a circle with this. Okay, looks pretty nice. The color does look pretty nice, because ultimately we're going to end with burnt sienna. Burnt umber, which is a deeper brown, and that's what we went around the ears with. So far, I do like this color. Gonna bring it down a little bit on the cheeks, just a little. No, not on the cheeks, on the side of the face, a little bit, just a little. Because remember, ultimately we have to get the burnt umber on the face too, a little bit. Not very deep, but we do on the face. Okay. Okay. I'm liking I'm liking it. I don't know. Hard to tell if you will be able to see it, but you can see it's a pretty brown. May take a couple of more coats or layers. I guess if I wasn't so hesitant, I would probably make it deeper. The colors deeper to begin with, and I wouldn't need to put on so many layers, you know. But I like to build up slowly because I am a little bit nervous. Um, I don't want to, get a color that I'm not satisfied with. I want to just kind of go slow and steady and build up little by little. Little by little. I think it's coming along quite nicely. I'm going to do the limbs, leaving out the palm and the soles of the feet, but I am going to do the limbs, including the fingers and toes, but not the nails or the soles or the palms. One of the reasons that I like using this brush on the hands and the fingers because I can create that imaginary border on the fingers, and it looks very natural using this brush, this angled brush. So it allows me to create that. Excuse me. So when I follow the curve, like these fingers are kind of curved, so I'm following the curve with the border. So it looks, natural. And I'm gonna go ahead and pounce. Okay, I can see it. Looks good. I'm gonna do the back of the hand. I kind of do the fingers, first to get those details, with the border and everything. And then on the side of the hand, we also have a little bit of a border with the coloring. Now we will go to the wrist and everywhere else on the hand, on the arm, I should say. And we will get paint all over the arm now. I'm kind of pouncing as I go. I'm a little nervous about this color, but it's coming out nice. It is, it's coming out quite nice. I'm going to switch to a larger brush, making sure I stir my paint, because as we know, all paint separates, it kind of settles. Now this color here, we can still see some of the modeling and the veining that we did in the other videos with Kato. So, which is nice. So we're doing, just want to make sure we're getting everywhere on the kit. We're not missing anywhere. We always want to make sure we get the very tip of the kit because sometimes It's a little easy to overlook this area because you're holding on to the flange and you're trying not to, go out too far, but you do have to be certain that you do paint that area as well. Now we will go ahead and pounce. This is the first time I'm using this Swiss spurs, and I see why everyone talks about these sponges. They are quite nice. Yeah, they do pounce and blend really nice. I mean, very nice. They're a little bit more expensive than the other sponges. However, I do see why. I do see why. But the other sponges, they work. But you can just see a different. Uh, Now here you can see a little bit of the change in the coloring, which is great. Now I'm going to do the other arm and the leg, and I'm going to end this video here. I don't want it to be too long. Please do like, comment, subscribe, and share. Enjoy your day.